5 on your side at 10 starts now.
Toasty temperatures Thursday. It's the last 90-plus degree day for a while, and hopefully the last day for air quality concerns for some. The change is coming as we head toward the weekend.
Free speech or fireable offense.
You can engage in public discourse, but you know that it's being recorded.
Tonight, knowing your rights before making your political posts. Our top story, bringing in the Guard to the Gateway City.
We have to save St. Louis.
Tonight, the legalities of President Trump's talks about sending in the troops to the streets of St. Louis.
I don't think citizens can tell the difference between a guardsman and an active duty soldier.
Good evening, everyone. Thanks for joining us. I'm Kelly Jackson. Mike Bush has the night off. First Los Angeles, then Memphis. Now President Trump is talking about deploying federal law enforcement, the Missouri National Guard, or other federal forces to St. Louis. 5 News Side's Laura Barteski talked with a local professor about what goes into National Guard deployments. Laura?
Kelly, so the National Guard can operate under 2 different sets of laws, one for the state and one for federal missions. But right now, we don't know who or what kind of forces President Trump wants to send to St. Louis, if any at all. President Donald Trump says a conversation with the leader of the Union Pacific Railroad is part of the reason he's thinking about taking his crime-fighting initiative to St. Louis, which he has now mentioned on several occasions.
I said to him, where else should we go? Where would you say? He said, sir, please do me a favor. St. Louis has been so badly hit. It's very hard, very, very hard. He said, don't lose Chicago.
He said St. Louis is in big trouble.
He's going to save these cities. This isn't like, we're going to do something. We have to save St. Louis. We have to save Chicago. We think Chicago is going to be next, and we'll get to St. Louis also.
But the big question is, who is the president referring to? It's possible the National Guard is part of the equation, as they are in the long list of people he's calling on to deploy to Memphis, Tennessee. Retired Army Colonel and UMSL Professor of Veteran Studies Jim Craig says the Missouri National Guard can either operate under Title 32 laws for state missions or Title 10 laws for federal missions as backup for the military.
Because when they're working in the state, they're not subject to the national law called the Posse Comitatus Act. So the Posse Comitatus Act says we cannot use our active force to do law enforcement inside the borders of the United States, essentially.
For state missions, the National Guard is called on by their commander-in-chief, which is the governor. Mayors can ask the governor for the Guard's help, just as the city of St. Louis did after the tornado. But the governor can act on their own.
So it could include law enforcement activities. It would probably include doing some backup activities to free up law enforcement agencies to do their job. Probably that. They could include using their transportation tools like trucks and vehicles to move things around. It could include, and it probably would include, using their communications architecture to help coordinate.
Craig says it's important to remember who is behind the uniform.
The National Guard is filled with people that are all around us anyway. In fact, interesting, if you call up the National Guard, you may lose some of your police force, because my guess is some of them are guardsmen and guardswomen. Right, and teachers and plumbers, and so I don't think you need to be afraid of the National Guard.
President of the Board of Aldermen, Megan Green, said in a statement to me today, quote, while no amount of crime is acceptable, St. Louis has been experiencing a downward trend in crime thanks to investments in prevention. If Donald Trump wants to deploy the National Guard to save our city, it needs to be for debris removal and disaster relief, not for targeting vulnerable communities and immigrants. Both Mayor Kara Spencer and Governor Mike Kehoe say they're not aware of any confirmed actions to send federal forces to St. Louis. Reporting live downtown, Laura Barteski, 5 on your side.
And tonight, President Trump announced he will designate the far-left anti-fascist group Antifa as a major terrorist organization. Just hours ago, the president posted on Truth Social calling the group, quote, sick, dangerous, radical left disaster. He also vowed to push for investigations into anyone funding the movement. The president made a similar proclamation during the height of unrest in the summer of 2020. Now to the weather impact forecast. The heat is still on in St. Louis, and the faucet of rain remains shut off. Chief Meteorologist Scott Connell says that is about to change within the next 24 hours, Scott?
In about 24 to 36 hours, our chance for at least some of us seeing a little bit of rain will be on the increase. It's not happening during the day on Thursday. Right now, a quiet night across the St. Louis area. The air quality has improved some from where we were earlier in the day. We did average out to another orange air quality day. When you do the 8-hour ozone average, we're definitely there for the 8 hours this afternoon into early this evening. But now we've lost the sunshine. Sunshine works with the pollution to create that ozone. It'll happen again tomorrow. So tomorrow, again, from 10 a.m. until 8 p.m., we have those ozone levels that will creep up. And during the afternoon, especially towards 2, 3, 4 o'clock in the afternoon, that's when we really jump up. That's when the air quality is worth it's unhealthy for sensitive groups. So if you have lung problems, if you're older or the very young, infants especially, they have trouble with this kind of ozone in the air. All right, weather-wise, all the showers have been out to our west. They're going to stay out there. We stay mostly clear, which means sunshine tomorrow. And yes, we're off to a pleasant start in the 60s, but that's still above average. And we're back into the 90s tomorrow afternoon. Last day for a while in the 90s. We'll talk more about that and the weekend rain chances in a bit, Kelly.
See you then, Scott. Tonight, we are told police are looking for several mask-wearing young robbers who reportedly got into a shootout with employees at a business in Bellefontaine Neighbors. It happened this afternoon at Gateway Market near St. Cyr and Bellefontaine Road. Just minutes ago, 5 on your side's Robert Townsend went to that business to try to learn more about the wild crime.
Tonight when we were here at Gateway Market in North St. Louis County, everything was quiet and normal, but Wednesday afternoon, the manager tells me it sounded like the wild, wild west. The store manager told me shortly after noon, 5 young guys who looked to be teenagers first pulled up in a gray car. He says 4 of the mask-wearing guys walked inside the store. One of them allegedly was armed with an AR-style rifle, and the others had pistols. The market manager says one of the would-be robbers approached the counter and started acting strangely when he saw the clerk was also armed. Within minutes, the manager says, as the guys walked out, they repeatedly fired shots. The manager says he and his co-workers returned fire. I'm told about a half-dozen customers were inside the family-owned market at the time. The store manager also says the robbers fired more than 80 shots before they stormed outside and took off in a waiting getaway car. Incredibly, nobody was hurt during all that gunfire. He also tells me right now detectives are still reviewing surveillance video taken from that brazen crime. In North County, Robert Townsend, 5 on your side.
Tonight, a Central West End doctor and 2 staffers face federal charges accused of illegally prescribing controlled substances and defrauding health insurers. A federal grand jury indicted Dr. David Parks and 2 of his staffers, Hames Balderbach and Michelle Shear. The U.S. Attorney's Office is now asking any patients who believe they're a victim to call its Victim Witness Unit. That number, 314-539-2227. Tonight, St. Louis Police Department is mourning the loss of 2 officers. Both died off duty this week from different causes. Officer Malik Baker died in a crash while driving to work and happened on Interstate 55 yesterday. Illinois State Police say Baker hit the back of a van pulling a trailer. The crash is under investigation. Baker was with the department more than 4 years. And Sergeant James Sanders passed away Monday after battling cancer. He served the city for 31 years. His family says he was a devoted husband and father of 3 who always put others first.
He was the most generous and selfless person that I know. He was always looking out for somebody else. And that was really his priority, not with just his family, but it could have been a stranger on the street. It could have been someone he interacted with at work. He was always looking for a way to make somebody else's life better.
Funeral visitation for Sergeant Sanders is set for Friday morning at Cudis South County Chapel on Lee May Ferry Road, beginning at 9 a.m. Tonight, Washington, D.C. is getting involved in the Boeing strike. The Congressional Labor Caucus sent a letter to the company encouraging them to return to the negotiating table. All 4 members of the caucus signed the letter, along with Illinois Representative Nikki Budzinski. The members emphasize the policy of the United States is to encourage collective bargaining. They go on to say they are concerned about Boeing hiring replacements for striking machinists.
It is a pressure tactic. If it's the Labor Caucus, it's not the full weight of Congress. It's not the full weight of the administration, but it is pressure.
5 on Your Side reached out to Boeing for a response to the letter, and they said the company does not have a comment at this time. The strike started August 4th. Just hours ago, Behavioral Health Response celebrated 1 year of its Journey to Healing series. It's a part of the Community Impact Initiative at the 21C Museum Hotel downtown. The monthly event allows for community engagement and conversation about healing. It features mental health activations, live entertainment, and a space for healing-centered conversations, all for free.
St. Louis has had a tremendous amount of trauma as a collective and as a city, and so we wanted to provide a safe space for us to be able to process that and to really help people be supported so they can move on another step on their journey to being healthy.
No need to worry if you didn't miss your chance to go. These events are held every Thursday, every third Wednesday of the month from 5 to 8 p.m. A St. Louis homecoming tonight for a pair of siblings who are also New York Times best-selling authors. Julia and Brad Ryu were at the Schlafly Library to talk about their debut novel, The Last Tiger. It's inspired by stories of their grandparents' youth. Today, St. Louis anchor Michelle Lee moderated tonight's event as part of her Very Asian Foundation.
A late-night comedian pulled off the air.
We hit some new lows over the weekend.
And everyday people losing their jobs over comments about Charlie Kirk.
They can choose to let you go, and you will have no rights.
Tonight, experts weigh in on free speech in the workplace.
Air quality remains unhealthy for sensitive groups again tomorrow, another orange air quality day. That's largely due to the mainly clear skies and the lack of wind. But that changes by Friday, and not everyone is getting badly needed rain as we head into the weekend, when you're most likely to see showers and storms.
Tragedy tonight in Pennsylvania. 3 police officers are dead. 2 others are in critical condition after a shooting. The suspect is also dead. Jerry Gish is in New York County with what led to the gunfire.
A tragic afternoon here in York County, Pennsylvania. 3 officers killed, 2 others injured as they served a warrant in North Codorus Township. The 2 injured officers are being treated here at York WellSpan Hospital tonight. We're told they're in critical but stable condition. Those officers reportedly were serving a warrant in connection with some sort of domestic dispute investigation, and we're told that police officers shot and killed the suspect. Tonight, reaction coming into what has happened here today. Governor Josh Shapiro saying a tragic and devastating day for the state of Pennsylvania, and the head of the Pennsylvania State Police said there are no words, and that the grief is unbearable. The investigation into exactly what happened continues tonight, but we are told there is no longer a threat to the public. Back to you.
More fallout tonight surrounding reactions to the assassination of conservative activist Charlie Kirk. ABC has pulled Jimmy Kimmel's late-night show off the air indefinitely. The network's move came after Nexstar Media announced its ABC affiliates would preempt Jimmy Kimmel Live over the host's comments in the wake of Kirk's shooting. Here's what Kimmel said during Monday's monologue.
We hit some new lows over the weekend with the MAGA gang desperately trying to characterize this kid who murdered Charlie Kirk as anything other than one of them and doing everything they can to score political points from it.
Nexstar's president said, quote, Mr. Kimmel's comments about the death of Mr. Kirk are offensive and insensitive at a critical time in our national political discourse. FCC Chair Brendan Carr had this to say when talking to conservative podcaster Benny Johnson today.
Look, there's calls for Kimmel to be fired. I think, you could certainly see a path forward for suspension over this. And again, the FCC is going to have remedies that we could look at.
Some top Democrats are calling this an attack on free speech tonight. ABC has not given further comment. Neither Kimmel or his representatives have responded. There have been several reports of everyday people being fired or suspended from their jobs over making inappropriate comments online about Charlie Kirk's assassination. So what are your rights when it comes to free speech in the workplace? New at 10, Marissa Sarbach spoke with a civil rights attorney to find out.
I get a lot of phone calls. Hey, I said this, that violates my First Amendment rights. I go, well, that's an easy one. You have no rights.
Civil rights attorney Larry Pankey says if you work in the private sector, you really don't have any rights when it comes to sharing personal thoughts and opinions, even if it's off the clock.
A private employer is really in business of making money. And if they feel that your behavior offline, on the weekend, on your own time, makes them look bad, they can choose to let you go and you will have no rights.
Especially in Georgia, an at-will state, meaning an employer can let you go at any time for almost any reason, except discrimination or retaliation. In fact, the only state in the U.S. that requires employers to have a, quote, good cause reason is Montana. The Dunwoody-based attorney says if you work for the public sector, like for the city or the state, you have a little more leeway when it comes to sharing your thoughts publicly, with one major exception.
They provide what they call a balancing test. While you are allowed and you have rights to engage in the First Amendment, if that right interferes with the government's ability to do its job, it will be outweighed possibly, and the government's right could take over and you could be punished, terminated.
Pankey says he's a huge proponent of public discourse, but if you are working, you need to be aware of the costs associated with it.
You can engage in public discourse, but you know that it's being recorded.
His advice for employees?
Remember your family and your livelihood. Is it really worth engaging with someone on the internet in an argument? If you truly value your job and you can't afford to lose it, sometimes the best thing to say is nothing at all.
And Pankey's advice for private sector employers is to put your free speech policy in writing and have employees sign off on it when they're hired. Chief Meteorologist Scott Connell is here with the weather impact forecast, something we've been waiting quite a few days for. Probably a few weeks, actually,
Yeah.
Scott.
Some rain. Yes, it's in the forecast. Now, I'm not guaranteeing everybody's going to get it, but when your water bill starts getting up there with your electric bill, as hot as it's been, that starts to really, raise your eyebrows. And it's been that way. If you've got a garden, maybe you try to keep your lawn, just perfect, want it nice and green, and you're using that sprinkler. We haven't had rain really at Lambert here for any amount that's been widespread in quite a while, about a month now. Certainly the last 2 weeks have really been dry across the region. And with the winds being extremely light the last couple of days, the pollution builds up, especially during the afternoon hours. And when we have the sunshine, we end up creating ozone, and we raise that into the unhealthy for sensitive groups. So an orange air quality day. And again, we do that tomorrow around the metro, and probably the highest concentrations again tomorrow, likely to be in West St. Louis County, northern Jefferson County, back out towards Augusta, down towards Pacific, heading into Franklin County. Most of us are in the upper 60s to lower 70s right now, a little warmer at Lambert. You look across the region, and we are tracking in these showers and thunderstorms at the moment. They are pushing right now across parts of Iowa, so they're lifting northeast. There's more out to the west, and eventually that entire area starts to nudge our way over the next couple of days. And as it moves in, while it's not a big storm system and it doesn't have widespread rain with it, it doesn't look like, it does bring at least the chance of some showers our way. So the coolest temperatures northeast of St. Louis in the mid-50s. In town, we're in the mid-60s for your overnight lows. Let's pick it up for tomorrow afternoon. Lunch hour. We're right around 90, low 90s. It's hot, it's bright. The air quality is kind of tanking on us during the afternoon hours. Clouds start rolling in late. Any chance for showers and thunderstorms tomorrow during the evening hours looks to stay west of St. Louis, far to the west of St. Louis. Then overnight and towards Friday morning, a few scattered showers, maybe a thunderstorm, trying to drift in. No guarantee we'll see that, but more clouds on Friday should keep us a bit cooler and also keep the air quality in check. We do anticipate Friday night football games at the high school level getting in without too much fanfare from Mother Nature. All right, here we go into the weekend. Saturday, there's a chance for scattered showers and thunderstorms. That chance does increase a bit on Sunday, and especially it looks like Sunday night, perhaps into early Monday. That's most likely our greatest chance. So we'll nudge those chances up a little bit over the weekend. Tomorrow, we're dry, we're hot, the air quality, it's orange tomorrow afternoon. So if you're in that sensitive group, if you have lung problems, you probably don't want to spend a lot of time outside tomorrow afternoon. Last day in the 90s for a while will be in the 80s beyond tomorrow through the weekend. And we've bumped up that rain chance a little bit for Sunday on into Monday. Not huge, but we bumped up the chance just a bit.
That's good, though.
Yeah, we need that rain badly.
We desperately need it. All right. Here's Frank with sports.
Kelly, the Blues are about to open training camp. Illinois is about to play their biggest game of the season, and the Cardinals are limping home in the stretch run of their season. We'll be right back.
And a new episode of Rennie on the Block has dropped on the 5+ streaming app. This week, Rennie Knott visits businesses along Morgan Ford and Tower Grove South. You can watch for free right after this newscast on your Roku, Apple, Fire, Samsung, or LG TV.
The timing for the Blues opening training camp is impeccable. So far in this great sports city, we are 0 for 2 in terms of teams making the playoffs. But stepping front and center is a team brimming with talent and loaded with first-round picks ready to fly. And they also have a president in Doug Armstrong in his last year on the job.
I'm not looking too far into the future down memory lane yet. There's enough work to do here. And I say that with all seriousness. Like, these players don't care about me and what I'm going to do next year. They just want to have a good year. They want to make money. They want to have a good season.
Australia is 10,000 miles away from St. Louis, and we're glad this man makes the trip. Nathan Walker today signed a 2-year contract extension worth just shy of $2 million. The 31-year-old totaled 16 points last season, led the Blues in penalty minutes, and set the team's single-season hits record with 281. Speaking of hits, the Cardinals could have used a few more of them today against the Reds in their series finale. And it wouldn't hurt if they got some better starting pitching too. But those are your 2025 Cardinals, who are now 5 games under 500. Whatever you do, don't blame 2025 on Alec Burleson. All this guy does is hit and hit. He doubled and homered. This is number 18. His .285 average is tops on the team. You know what Andre Palante can't do? Walk people. He did that 3 times in 4 innings. And of course, it comes back to bite him. Spencer Steer with a 411-foot clout. It's a 3-run bomb. And you can't win games when you just get 5 hits. Jordan Walker struck out 3 times. Reds win 6-2. After the game, I asked the skipper about Burleson, who is brilliant with a bat in his hands.
There's at bats where he goes down a certain way because he's sitting on a pitch, and he's okay with that. He's super stubborn, I say that in the most positive way possible, sticking to what he thinks is going to happen in an at bat. The conversations, because he's usually right behind me talking to Brownie about what he's looking to do that next at bat, and there's layers to that one, and they're really good. So he's ahead of certain guys when it comes to his ability to do that.
St. Louis University announced today that Darren Hendrickson is no longer the baseball coach. Assistant coach Miles Miller will take over as the interim head coach. Hendrickson won 551 games at SLU and took 3 teams to the NCAA tourney. It's an exciting time to be a part of the Maryville hockey program. The men kicked off their season tonight at McKendree. Soon they could be playing at the Division I level. The Saints are making a massive push to go D1 in the next few years, and that includes an over $5 million investment in their facility in Chesterfield. Here's what the timeline could look like.
That's basically 2 seasons that will be tasked with transitioning, adding a men's 1 team, NCAA, about a 10-month build for the facility, the 12,000 square feet that we'll add with the catwalk for the capacity. So a lot would have to happen come Jan 1, about 18 months after the fact, that would really transform this facility, transform our hockey program, and transform our university.
9th-ranked Illinois heads east Saturday night to play at number 19 Indiana. The Hoosiers have outscored their first 3 opponents 156-23. Illini coach Brett Bielema still remembers a controversial loss in Bloomington in 2022 and wants the return visit to have a different outcome. It's a game you can see right here on 5 on Your Side.
The last time we went over there, obviously, the fallout from that game, was one that really hurt us and stung, but hopefully going to be better prepared on Saturday. I think we got a lot of really good football players who know how to play and have been excited to start Big Ten play, and we'll get that going this Saturday.
And Kelly, of course, Mizzou has a big one against South Carolina Saturday. Corey Miller and I will be driving the Channel 5 Escalades up there.
I thought you were taking the jet.
No, we have to
go
go
helicopter.
Yeah.
All right. A bigger piece of the pie, the St. Louis Pizzeria targeting a new national outlet. A St. Louis favorite is expanding its reach beyond the bi-state. Target will now start selling frozen Katie's pizzas at its stores nationwide. There are 4 varieties available: margarita, pepperoni, meatball, and garlic burrata cheese. Last year, Katie's won a nationwide contest to be available in Walmart stores. Katie's Pizza and Pasta is set to open its 4th location in Crestwood this fall. And a Metro East preschooler has made the cut. 4-year-old Bodie Fisher of Columbia, Illinois, is now a finalist in the National Mullet Champ Competition Kids Division. He calls his flowing blonde locks the Swayze Special. Bodie is named after Patrick Swayze's character in the movie Point Break. He says his hair's theme song is the Swayze ballad, She's Like the Wind. The final round of online voting has not yet started, though. What a cutie!
Oh, man. I bet the 4-year-old girls love him, too.
I wish I had hair like that. Not even back in the day.
I was going to say, back in the day.
Not even like that. All right, right now we're talking about quiet conditions, but we do have the air quality that we'll deal with tomorrow, and it's still hot. Then after that, the rain chances are here for the weekend, which we badly need, but it's not a washout.
Okay. Thanks so much for joining us. We're always streaming on 5+. Be sure to start your day with Today in St. Louis. That begins at 5.